Rhema Feast is in 2 months. And it has been announced 2 months before because we're doing a 60 days of prayer and fasting before the actual Rhema Feast, before it actually begins. 60 days, that's basically 2 months, right? That's a lot. Okay, for some people, for most people, it's a lot. And if you're doing a 6 to 6 and you usually do manual work, or you're usually quite busy during the day, it might be too hard for you. But we all have different capacities, right? But I just wanted to give a few examples of the type of fast that you can do, the type of fast you can do. One day is the 6 to 6, the one that I just started with. That's partial, I think. Yeah, that's partial. So it can be no solid food from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., no solid food, and no water. Basically a dry fast. 6 to 6 dry fast, or 6 to 6, that means you're skipping breakfast and lunch. 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. But you can take liquids. You can take stuff like coffee if you get a bit too weak, if you're actually really busy, because I stand a lot during the day. If I was doing 6 to 6, I'm not doing that one though. So 6 to 6, either dry, or you can take beverages. You can take coffee, you can take energy drinks, you can take, I don't know, milkshake or something, anything, as long as it's liquid, no solid food, just to give you that push so that you can get to 6 p.m. You can also just skip breakfast. That is if you usually have breakfast. Now, if you don't usually have breakfast in the morning, it doesn't make sense to fast breakfast, honestly. That's not a sacrifice at all. Please do not do that. Do not do that one because it's easier for you, because I always skip breakfast anyway. Don't do that. Don't do that. But if you usually have breakfast, it has to feel like sacrifice again. If you usually have breakfast, you can just skip breakfast alone, or you can skip lunch alone, just skipping one meal. So basically you can skip just one meal, or you can skip 2 meals. If you're skipping 2 meals, it can be 6 to 6, and then you can have supper after 6, or dinner. And then if you're skipping 1 meal, if you're skipping just 1 meal, you can do a 6 to 12, 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. Right? Or basically that's for you to decide. Skip lunch, or skip breakfast, or skip dinner, whichever works for you. We also do have the Daniel fast, which is kind of perfect because it kind of stretches to 21 days, but you can do it for 10 to 21 days. The Daniel fast is where you only get to have vegetables, no milk, no dairy products, basically, not just milk, like milk and cheese and yogurt and ice cream, things like that. No dairy products, no sugar, just no sweets, nothing like that. It has to be just vegetables, the same way Daniel only had only the bland food at the king's palace for 21 days. But now you can also stretch it to 60 days, right? Just doing vegetables. At that point you just be having ugali kales, ugali and spinach, ugali and this, but no meat. Did I say that? I don't know if I said that. Yeah, no, I did not. I said dairy. No dairy products, no meat. Majorly meat. No meat, no dairy products, no sweets, nothing like that. So, yeah, you have to get creative with your food. You will do a lot of repetition. Or you can just do both. You can mix in. You can just mix a few, because I will be mixing too. You can just mix 6 to 6, and then when you can, and the days where you can't, you can do 6 to 12, or you can do 6 to 6 and then you do dry, and then the next time you can include beverages, but it's better to just go for for certain period, being consistent with one type, I think. Yeah. You can mix now the Daniel one, because you have to get really creative with your food for 60 days. 60 days is a lot. Or you can do 21 and then 21, and then the other days you can choose something different. I don't know if this works, because someone mentioned to me at one point that it has to involve food, but I've done it before personally and it has worked. So I really don't know, but I'm just gonna put it out there anyway. You can tell me if this is okay. Because I used to think it doesn't always have to involve food. So entertainment too, I would fast from entertainment. No social media, no movies, because sometimes movies will, the kind of content we taken, something like that, or we watch something like that. So basically the time when you're usually scrolling on TikTok or Instagram, of which most of us do that a lot, instead of doing that, you start praying, right? So no social media, which can be tricky for some people because you kind of have to be active because of, that's why we work. But it can strictly be just work, right? Just conversing with people, just work. Fasting from movies, any form of entertainment basically, or fasting from, I don't know, if playing games takes a lot of your time, you can fast from that too. For the next 60 days you're not going to touch the video games at all. Now the time when you usually play those video games, it doesn't matter for hours or whatever, for 2 hours, 3 hours, that's when you should be praying now. So I don't know if that one applies, but I also do that. I don't know, because someone told me it has to be just food, and I've never really known if that's, I don't know, someone can like share it, but that's something I usually do, and it kind of works, unless you're not calling it fasting or you're calling it something else, but I think you can do that. We also have the Esther fast. The Esther fast is supposed to be 3 days, so maybe this is just going to be, talking about types of fasts basically. There's the Esther fast, but you can include it somewhere in there between, you can decide these 3 days I'm going to do the Esther fast. That's why you go for it. You go for 3 days, no solid food, no drinks, nothing, just you and God and your saliva. So you're going to be taking in. But some people take beverages, maybe like water or something, if it gets a bit too tricky for them. But obviously you're not going to do that if you've never done it before, or obviously there's a fasting for everything. If you've never done like these intense fasts before, right? So there is the Esther fast too. Okay, so that's what I can think of at the moment. I remember if you're not praying while you're fasting, that is hunger strike. Like, we've always been told that is hunger strike. You have to pray. You can't just like abstain, like fast from food and then, or whatever it is that you're fasting from, and then go without prayer and say, I fasted today. That was definitely hunger strike, or some other type of fast, but not the Christian fast or whatever the name is. So yeah, also I remember I share this on YouTube, by the way. My YouTube is Wendy Rye, same as my TikTok username. Well, not this one, this is my art page, just I forgot that. I don't know if there's like a Wendy Rye somewhere, but I don't know my username here. There's Art by Rhea, I don't know the other one, but it's Wendy Rhea, right? So where someone told me, if when you're fasting, let's say like I'm doing a 6 to 6, that is if it's possible for you. It's okay to just like pray once, but if you're doing 6 to 6, that means I'm going to fast from breakfast. I'm going to fast, I'll skip breakfast and I'll skip lunch, right? So when I'm supposed to be having breakfast, that's when I pray, and when I'm supposed to be having lunch, and then I pray again. And yeah, but also if you don't really have the time, but we usually have the time to eat, so you have the time to pray. What am I even saying? Unless you don't eat that much, you don't usually have all your meals. But usually I have all my 3 meals. I don't usually skip any meal. I have all my 3 meals, so whatever meal I'm skipping when I'm fasting, the time when I'm supposed to be having that meal, that's when I'm going to be praying, right? It's just a tip someone shared with me. It helps you to like really get into it during that period, because it's just supposed to be you and God. It also helps you to tame your flesh, for those who are struggling with any fleshly desires, because that's it. Hey, we'll get there. We'll get there. I will get there, you will get there, we will get there. So we just have to do a bit more of that this year. Yeah. Okay. Bye. Also, make sure you don't miss the Rhema feast, man. You can't say you didn't know. You've been told 2 months earlier. 2 months earlier, man. It's August 31st to September 4th. You can't say you didn't know at Uhuru Park. Please, y'all. When that time comes, I would remind you, so we can also go maybe as a group, I don't know, something like that. But do not miss out.